As coaches in the game, we really ain't playing. We regroup up in the Slack chat where the coaches debrief. We be pieces these brothers, rock my touch to the pie. Ain't no lie, we get black helmets, caskets get high. You can see helmet after helmet after helmet. First place, second place, fifth place, eighth place, fourth place, 15, 16, 20. So many helmets, we got blurred vision, we got too many. Oh no. They got us fucked up. Army, we play always to have that edge. We don't fight warning shot. Competition just drop. We lock and loaded for whatever time. Do you even correlate?
Being the best requires willing to outwork competition. There's always someone smarter, faster, sharper, more technical.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Geeks Vegas Lines DFS and Betting Angles Breakdown show. My name is Kevin Allen, a.k.a. The Geek, and I'm here with the GOAT himself, the perfect hair, the perfect voice, so smooth with the ladies, Statsational, John Alessia. What's up, my man?
Oh, man, not much, man. Just a little tired. It was a long night last night.
It's been a long night. It's been a long day. A lot of crazy stuff going on. Luckily here, we don't get into any of that non-sports stuff unless we're going to get a little crazy. Although, it was a little fun betting. Politics is a lot more fun when you're betting it.
Oh, listen, everything's more fun when you bet it.
You did a lot of that. So a lot of crazy angst in the country right now. We don't care about that. All we care about is who is going to make us the monies on football games, betting, DFS, and all of that stuff. So,
well, some good news too, though. Some states out there that passed the legalized sports betting. So, South Dakota, Louisiana, Maryland,
legalized marijuana, and I was like, "Yeah, baby, Jersey, what's up?"
They go hand in hand. We're just waiting on the prostitution to follow now.
So, at this point in America, it's pretty much legal to do drugs,
yes,
to bet, to gamble, and very soon, prostitution.
Yeah, I mean it's that's the way we're going.
How long until after that, until society crumbles like Sodom and Gomorrah?
About 7 years ago.
Yeah, it's just the end. The end is nigh, people. Now, we are brought to you, as always, and presented by DFS Army and Sports Bet Army, where you can get your best daily fantasy sports and sports gambling advice, picks, and awesomeness. And we are sponsored by No House Advantage, where you could play props for cash. You have tournament-style contests, GPPs, as you will, built around props, John. And props are what our specialties are as daily fantasy sports players. It's essentially what we're doing. We're coming up with props for each player, trying to beat the props.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a nice derivative off of what we do as fantasy players.
Absolutely. So, actually, it allows me a really interesting transition because No House Advantage actually has a couple of props up for the Thursday night game. And I wanted to take a minute to kind of show how we could look at their props and then use our props tool at DFS Army to figure out what the best side. I have not done this yet, John. This is going to happen live.
All right, we're doing it on the fly. I haven't looked at it either.
You haven't looked.
No.
I haven't looked. So let's see if we can use the DFS Army prop finder tool to help us figure out how to play these props that we're going to show. And then we can expand out from there and see, hey, this is how we do it. So let's check it out. They got Davante Adams Thursday night. Big numbers expected. Check it out. There we go. 91.5 yards, 7.5 receptions. Now, let's pop up our prop finder tools from DFS Army. Go over here. You click on prop finder. Now, bring up Davante. I don't know how to spell it. There we go. Bring up Davante Adams. So the prop, check it out. Very close. The prop on No House Advantage was 92.5 yards. The over-under, and it's leaning just so mildly towards the under, right now is 89.5 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Very close. Of course, unfortunately, they nailed the receptions prop perfectly, over under 7.5. So we are not gleaning much advantage off of this at all.
No, but it's still a slight edge.
I mean, do we give the slight edge to the under on yardage? And maybe, I mean, 110 minus 111, I can't call that an edge to the over.
Well, what'd you say they had it at? 90?
They have it at 92.5 yards and 7.5 receptions.
Okay.
So the prop here is 88.5 to 89.5 yards. So I think if I took the prop, I would go. For me, I like my head tells me to bet the over on Davante Adams on both of these. But if I read the numbers, if I'm betting the under on one, I think I'd bet the under on both. That's kind of how I would go. I would pair them up.
Well, yeah, if you're gonna take the over in receptions, you're gonna probably want the over in yardage and vice versa. But yeah, I mean, we're not gonna go too in depth in the game, but with the injuries on the San Francisco side, it could be one of those situations again, similar to DFS that we're looking at, where maybe we don't get as much offense from the Green Bay side because the game's just going to be a little bit more low scoring. But yeah, with Davante Adams, we've seen that he is their main target. Last week, he was all touchdowns, no yardage last week.
Yeah, last week was a tough matchup though. In the case of this week, they don't have a running back that's any good, and that's kind of why I would throw that not throwing to him. I don't even care what the game plays out. Who else are they going to go to?
Is Jones not? Is Jones definitely not playing tomorrow?
Jones. It does not look like Jones will play.
They literally have no running back.
No, it's Tyler Johnson and just random names. Dexter from the practice squad. It's so they're going to be throwing. I like the over here. Another quick one that we could take a look at. And again, what I'm mostly trying to show here is how to use this props tool against these prop site like No House Advantage to try to gain advantage. We're not always going to get one, but that's why you can weight your props on their site. It's really cool. If you find one that you really like a lot, you give it a 5-point weighting, and that counts 5 times as much as one that might be like a toss-up for you. So that's how you're trying to win those tournaments, if you can glean this edge. So check this out. Ayuk, 63.5 yards, 4.5 receptions, right? So if you bring it up on the tool here, 61, 4.5 receptions over. So here we're getting a minus 33 on the 4.5 reception prop to the over. And we're leaning just a little bit to the over here on 63.5 yards. So even though this isn't a great advantage, the props are telling us lean to the over, especially on the reception prop.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the perfect way to do it, right? These are better than looking at projections, right? Because the market is going to be, on the whole, the market is going to be the most accurate. So you're just taking advantage of these small little edges that you're going to get, and that's that's just the way to play it.
The bigger the edge that you see on the prop tool, the more you should weight that specific prop. All right. Anyway, let's get into what we're doing here today. We're here to break down the NFL Week 9 main slate. And here's how the format of Geeks Vegas Lines and Betting Angles show works. We're going to pick 4 games to highlight as our core 4 for the week. It's a perfect week for a core 4 because there legitimately are 4 core games this week. And then we're going to lightning round through the rest of the games. We're going to talk about each game from a betting angles and daily fantasy football perspective. And we go to the lightning round. We're going to hit them quick. When we do the core 4, we're going to go a little more in depth. Games that we're more excited about, particularly for DFS. So let's get to it. We have the core 4. All right. The first game on the core 4 for this week, Detroit Lions taking on the Minnesota Vikings at Minnesota. 52.5 point game total here, with the Vikings coming in as 4-point favorites. Now, John, Lions, have they been in high scoring games this year? It seems like they always have a high game total and then they never hit it. Do you see any betting angles on this one that we can exploit?
Well, here's the problem. Like minutes ago, Stafford was ruled out.
Say what now?
Stafford with COVID.
What the who?
I mean, this is literally minutes ago, and I think someone
Holy
actually
shit,
mentioned it in the
book and
chat.
bet the under. Hold up.
Yep,
Wait.
Stafford is placed on the COVID list. I'm just getting it now. So this
are you
was
betting?
literally.
Hold on. Wait, guys, excuse me for a second. Well, I bet the under. Hold on. Let's see if we can get on here. This is what you want to do in real time. John, can I bet the under right now in this game? I need to know.
Throw it on there because the under is going to move. So
Lions,
if
where are
you?
you?
Looking it up, you probably won't be able to get in.
They pulled it.
Yeah, they pull it pretty quick. Obviously, the better bet would be on the on the Vikings. There, that's going to be a pretty decent move on the line. So, but they yank them pretty quickly. It's about 5 or 6 minute old news now.
Damn. Yep. Now, let me ask you a question here from a pro better perspective. As I continue to look on all my other books to see if I can get in on this, but from a pro better perspective, if you were able to squeeze a bet in, oh shit, oh no, it's off, son of a bitch. Wait, under. I think I can bet the under still. Hold on. Bet. Let's put a couple hundred. Let's put $100 on the under. Let's see if that works. I'm just. Now the reason I'm betting the under is because, I just feel that if the Lions aren't scoring. Ooh, I got it in. No, cannot be accepted. Son of a bitch. All right, fuck you. All of the books. I actually was just putting a bet in. Like we're on the show live, so you can't bet it. At least not on my book. But if you're on a book somewhere now, John, my question for you is: if I got that bet in, will they be like, no, that's canceled. That doesn't count. You don't get that. Was an error. Or do they let that bet stand?
No, they'll let it stand. That's why they're usually pretty quick to yank it. So if you would have got the bet in, it would have stood.
That's a bummer. All right, so this game just turned on its side. Not much core here going on without Matt Stafford in there. The only thing I can really think about is that just elevates the interest in Dalvin Cook to the point where he becomes the ultimate play on the slate.
Yeah, it certainly changes a lot. I got to bring up. I've been looking for the news on this, but yeah, it's tough to figure this out now in real time. When we're looking at, it's probably going to be a game that now we know obviously that we don't want to stack from a wide receiver standpoint. And I believe Galladay, might not. I don't.
No, he's out. Galladay's out.
So this is just So it's going to be an odd game that I might have to look at a little bit closer when we get to it. But yeah, Dalvin Cook. The problem with Dalvin Cook is from an ownership standpoint. He had one of the great weeks in DFS last week, so we know that. So we know what his ownership is going to look like. And in this match, he's got a pretty good matchup here. So, but I wouldn't shy away from Cook in this matchup. Just looking at it from right now.
It's chalk we're going to have to eat. He's going to be massively owned, but this favored number is going to go from -4. I'm going to say to like -9 or -8 would be my guess. No Matt Stafford. And so you just got a heavy home favorite running back. That's the situation against a bad run defense that you just have to play.
Yeah, I think so. Because you're going to have a big favorite there, which we like. And then with the stud running back against a defense that not particularly, that you're not particularly worried about from a rushing standpoint. They're in the top or the bottom, like 10 of my rankings. So yeah, this is going to be a smash spot here for Cook without a doubt.
It just sets up that way. And Michael mentioned Vikings defense. Yes, stack them with Cook. That's
I didn't look at the prices, but I assume now that price is going to be just a bit off now because the total is going to come down. So yeah, the Viking. I don't know who. Do we know who the quarterback is? I'm not sure who their backup is.
Could it be Jeff Driscoll? Or is
no, Driscoll.
There?
No, Driscoll was playing for. Driscoll played this year for, and I can't remember who. Driscoll got in. Was it for like Denver?
I don't know. Yeah, I thought he was on one. I heard the name this year. If it's not Stafford, it doesn't matter. Whoever it is terrible. But looks like Chase Daniel or David Blow from last year. So remember David Blow? He played a few games last year. It was pretty bad. And Blow, and then Chase Daniel is on this team. I don't know if he's healthy, but it's probably Chase Daniel. who it's just it is a bad situation. No, we're talking too much about this game.
We are now talking too much. Yeah, but yeah, the Vikings 2,400. Alex just posted that. Yeah, that's going to be a very solid.
Yeah, and by the way, yes, Madison is one of these super. You could do that.
But yeah, but you're not going to want to be on Cousins or their not to any significant level.
The Vikings are a team that will run if they can. They're not going to force the issue and throw it. So
absolutely,
yeah. All right, let's move on from this game because that's a freaking shitty ass Core 4 game 5 minutes ago.
I know.
Just ruined it. Got the Rona. Everybody's getting the Rona right now, John. Everybody's getting it.
Yeah, as long as I don't get it.
I don't leave the house. I haven't left the house in like 9 months. Just here all the time. That's why I'm always on a podcast.
It's odd because you look like you have that beautiful tan going, man. It's like
no, I have a pool in the back. I go outside in my own house. I don't fuck around. Like I live large, but I don't leave the area like mix with people. I don't mix with humans, sickos as I call them. I don't mix with super spreaders, meaning all humanity. That's not me. Except my kids don't listen to me. They're out going to parties. All right, here we go. Next game on the Core 4. John, this is my favorite game of the week from a daily fantasy sports perspective. This one's my number one. You've got the Seattle Seahawks, Russell, heading out to Buffalo, take on the Bills. 55-point total. Seahawks, a middling 3-point favorite. Now, does anything stand out to you? Now, I love this game, but does anything stand out to you on these lines from a betting perspective? 55-point total, highest of the week. Okay. Very close spread. I would think maybe, it's on the road at Buffalo. So, I think Seattle may be a better team. Buffalo coming off a couple bad games. Anything to see here?
Yeah, well, there's a lot to see here. I mean, this is probably the best game from a fantasy standpoint of the week. So we know we're always looking to target Seattle games. I mean, Seattle games are beautiful. Buffalo has shown that the defense is just not quite, not quite might be an understatement, not nearly as good as we thought they were going to be.
Both of these teams pop on your list of defenses to target each week. They're crazy.
Exactly. When you're looking at that sheet, when we're looking at like the power rankings, last week we didn't have too many of these, but this week here you go, you got one where you've got a couple of, positive numbers on that far right column. And of course the Seattle numbers just out of control. That number again is going to get a little skewed.
I need you to mute that number a little bit.
Yeah, I'll mute it, but it doesn't matter. We know that they're, it's all relative. We if it was 100 or 150, it doesn't matter. We just know that, I want to just make sure that we want to target Seattle games, and then the Buffalo game is a targetable game.
Positive number for Buffalo, where you would have thought Buffalo defense is something to avoid. They're showing 19.9. Essentially, the meaning of this is just how much offense they produce, how much offense opposing teams produce, and that's how that number kind of comes together. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so positive is good. So both of these teams are teams to target. If we look at this projection for this specific game, you'll see numbers unheard. Again, you got to ignore the passing yardage because Seattle's numbers are so skewed, not just by the massive game that the Cowboys had against them, but how bad the Cowboys have been reducing their average. It skews the number a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's irrelevant. What we need to know is Buffalo in line for a good day. Passing. Seattle, just a good overall day with lots of running and passing going on. That's kind of like what that says. So let's get back to this game. Any bettable? I know you love the 3-point number, those key numbers. So is there anything you're seeing here like Seattle? I mean, let me give you my fish point of view. Mm-hmm. The fish in me says Seattle should be favored by more than 3 points here. They're a better team. Like Buffalo's at home. I get it. But, I expect Seattle to win the game. 3 points seems kind of tight. Makes me want to bet bet Seattle.
Yeah, a lot of people want to bet Seattle this week. That's definitely the sucker side of the game, because that line just looks a little low. It's actually like some places have it at 2.5. Do we have? We should have some 2.5s on there. No, on our.
Let me look across here on screen.
Do we have any?
No,
yeah, there's a couple of 2.5s. Yeah.
I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
So if you go, there you go. You got to pay a little bit more, but if you go to, looks like PointsBet, or if you go to Bet USA. Man,
yeah, I forget which one that is.
I need to learn these logos. You can get slightly better. You can get slightly better on the minus. So we want the -2.5, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Seattle at -2.5, I mean, I kind of like that as well. But that is the public side. So when I say sucker side, that's generally just the public side of the game. And like I always say, the public doesn't always lose. So playing those is not always a bad play. But it's interesting.
I always know the fish side, though. I feel like just knowing the fish side.
Easy. Well, yeah. Honestly, if you just as an aside, if you're in an office pool and you can just locate the fish games and just go against them, because that'll give you a leg up in any like office pool that you're in. Or betting them, you might need a little bit more info. But
or if you're like my former secretary, who would just literally randomly guess and would win the office pool like 4 weeks out of 16 because she had no idea. So she didn't understand what a fish bet was. She was never on it. She would just take the pot. Her full season record was terrible, but she would win the pot, the weekly, 4 or 5 weeks a season. I'm like, fuck, she doesn't even watch a football game. How does she win it? Because randomly guessing gets you off of the fish side 4 or 5 weeks when it smashes everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. It does happen. I mean, that's what we used to do, a 6 out of 6. You had to pick 6 right to win the pot out of 6 bets. And my sister, I used to run it, then my sister took it over. But I used to know all the time, go to my dad's house on Sunday.
Wait. Hold up.
What's that?
Your sister took over the pool? Like your whole family are like gambling degenerates? It's not just you?
No, it's not just me. So I would go over to my dad on a Sunday, watch the games, have dinner, and my sister would pop up, and I would know immediately. I wouldn't even open my mouth. She would start. I would know before she walked in the door. I would know who she had in the pool. Yeah, because it'd be obvious. I distinctly remember a Colts Browns game where obviously the Browns were terrible almost every year, and I had the Browns side, and it was Peyton Manning. And the Browns, they kept it close. They didn't win the game, but they kept it really tight. It was a last second win by Manning. And I remember my sister just like, I don't understand. It's Peyton Manning. And I'm like, that's exactly what, it's exactly what the general public thinks, And I had the Browns, she had the Colts. But yeah, if you're in these pools, very easy way when it looks obvious.
The most classic John bet ever on this note. The most classic John bet. I don't know if you bet this, but it felt so classic. Was the Giants getting 12.5 and the under on Monday night. Did you bet this?
No. So that was a rarity that I was actually on the wrong side of that one. Yeah, so I was on the wrong side.
Did you go against your model and use your brain?
No. I never do that. No, that was not. I get that all the time. But people just assume when they see these big spread. But we've had quite a bit of favorites recently, and actually the 2 games so far that I gave out this week are favorites. But we've been rolling pretty good. With the NFL on the bets.
How has it going? Give us a break. Like, actually, I want to talk about this game. Then we'll talk about sports.
Yeah.
Actually, let me get into this on the DFS side because this is the most important game of the week.
No doubt.
To me, this is the ultimate. Russell Wilson. Do you know his floor this season has been 25 fantasy points in his worst game? He's putting up 30s and 35s on the regular. He's looking incredible, and everything's clicking on all cylinders right now for the Seahawks. The Bills are coming off of 2 mediocre weeks of offensive output. Finally, sort of Josh Allen come back down to earth. I like that. I don't think the last 2 weeks and some mediocrity matters at all. I think we go right back to the expectation that Josh Allen will have a great game here. Russell Wilson is going to smash. Felipe is asking about Wilson, Diggs, Lockett. Yes. That's the ultimate stack, and you are correct. There is an issue here in that Tre'Davious White should be draped on DK Metcalf. Listen, it's hard to say play Lockett over Metcalf. And I want to explain something. I want to explain. And John, I'm going to say this, but I want you to give your thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, we look at these games every week and we try to analyze like, all right, we love Wilson. Who's he going to throw to? Well, he's got two guys that he's going to throw to a lot. Generally, it's going to be Lockett and it's going to be Metcalf. Do I know so now we're just trying to narrow it down. All right, well, who's the safer play? Now we can look at certain factors and try to get an inkling of which way it might go. Like, for example, last week, the 49ers had just been really good at limiting big plays to wide receivers. Like 20 yards down the field, there were barely any against them. Now, part of that could have been just who they've faced, that people don't throw deep or aren't accurate. Part of that could be they're really scheming to take out deep plays. And part of it can mean it doesn't matter, because even if a team is good against that situation, it doesn't mean that a player can't beat them. So last week, DK Metcalf, big plays, smashed the slate wide open. Where I was saying, the setup maybe is a little bit better for Tyler Lockett, because San Francisco is really good at eliminating big plays. They kind of play a style of defense that helps with that. But that doesn't mean that DK Metcalf can't go off. It just means maybe Lockett's spot is a little better. And I'm going to say again this week, Buffalo has an elite cornerback on the team, just one, and he's probably going to be on the outside on Lockett with on DK Metcalf. But when you're entering tournaments, how much of that matchup are you allowing to sort of influence your player decisions?
Yeah, it's not going to be a ton there. I mean, the price last week for me, like we're talking about that San Fran Seattle game. The price swayed me more towards Lockett, which obviously wasn't the right side. But I think he had like a $600 discount last week on Lockett. I mean, it's next to him, but for me, it's really close. It's really tough. And yeah, everything you said is correct with the San Fran defense. But they were so expensive. The Seattle stacks where you had to, this is the whole reason Jimmy G was so popular last week. I used them in high stakes, and if you use Jimmy G, you were probably using Kittle, who was an expensive tight end, in which case, you're trying to save a couple of bucks there last week. And to do that, you went to Lockett, even though you probably, Lockett was coming off that monster week. So we kind of, generally like to fade a guy off those big weeks. But yeah, DK, I mean, DraftKings, they're pricing these things in a way where they're putting you towards Lockett. So for me, in that situation, it's too tight of a call to make in GPPs, where I'm going to probably just spread them out evenly. But I made the wrong call when it came to picking one.
Or I'll throw out like what I would do in that situation, which is almost the same. I might, if I have a preference, I do like to, if I find a preference, I like to be, I like to prosper in a sense if I'm right about the preference. So what I'll do is I'll be like, all right, I want to stack Russell Wilson with one of his wide receivers in these matchups, and then bring it back maybe with a Brandon Ayuk or a piece from San Francisco last week. And this week it will be a piece from Buffalo. So what I'll do is I'll just do 60-40. I'll be like, all right, if I like Lockett a little more, I'm going to, in my Russell lineups, I'll max out Metcalf or Lockett at 60 and then default to Metcalf in the other 40. Or I might do, 40, 30, and then like, or, 40, 30, and then like some percentage with both of them together with the quarterback. So that's how I'm doing. If I have a preference one, that means I'll lean that way a little bit. So I'll go from 50-50 even split. We'll go 60-40. If I have a great preference for one, like this week, you might actually prefer Lockett a little bit more because of the actual matchup potentially with Tre'Davious on. But the problem with those matchups is sometimes then you find out that no, that guy shifted over and he was covering the other guy. So I don't like to even allow a cornerback matchup to sway me that much, because guys move around. Somebody saying Moore is in the slot. I understand Tyler Lockett play in the slot quite a bit. Could be wrong, but Tyler Lockett plays in the slot quite a bit. And with when Moore comes in, he's going to be a lot of times that third wide receiver on the outside. So although they switch it up, there's nothing that's 100% of the time. But
I mean, Lockett plays about 2 times more in the slot than Moore does.
Yeah, what is it like?
60-30.
Yeah, 60-30. That's what I'm saying. Lockett's a little bit more of a slot wide receiver for the team. When you have a lean one way or another, and I want to talk about the Buffalo side, it's very important, and the running game for Seattle. But when you have a lean between these two guys, because pretty much every week of the season, one of these two guys has smashed the slate open, just play them both. Like, don't just do one. Now, John, what you talked about was really, really exciting. And I guess because we didn't have a first core 4 game, I'm going to spend more time on this one because you made a great point about how last week the slate, and we all fall into this trap. The slate set up in a very sort of way where, you play Garoppolo and you save the money and you use Kittle, and then you need a little money savings, so you had Lockett. And that was a very common, everybody played Keenan Allen. So like that lineup that I played, that's like basically the same fucking lineup. I had it too. And the fact that I had it too means we probably shouldn't have had it is really what it means. So part of the deal with these high stakes games and smaller single entry contests like that is you want to figure out what the common approach is going to be and then get a twist. Get off of it just a little. You don't want the same shit as you start doing the same thing as everybody, you ain't winning anything. So,
yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah. So
I mean, good.
Well, what I was going to say, the trick in those is you've got to find, all right, if everybody's doing this with Kittle and that, I got to do something a little different. All right. So if you wanted to stay with Garoppolo, and of course that was a dud, that was a disaster beyond a dud, a disaster. And we freely admit, but one of the beautiful things, John, about you, I mean, listen, when we're talking about these plays, we're putting our money on them, like real serious amounts of money. We feel the pain when they don't work. Like we're out here trying our best to be on the best plays because we put our money on it. But knowing that was going to be a pretty common construction, that could have led to, all right, you know what? Let me twist this around. Everybody's using that construction with 2 cheap running backs and Derrick Henry or Alvin Kamara. That's where you say, all right. And we talked about it on the shows, like a great pivot off of Kamara Henry chalk was moving down to Dalvin Cook, who no one's going to be on. Could have pivoted off of maybe a little more common Kittle Lockett approach by doing something different like Metcalf and Ayuk. And that would have, those slight changes, which doesn't make your lineup into a stupid lineup, really probably would have been better for that single entry contest where if everybody's going to be on this, don't have FOMO, do things different, but not stupid.
100%. We talk about that all the time. Like you can be different without being crazy. Like you don't have to look for the guy who's going to be 0.5% owned to be all that far out there. You were up with me late last night. We were over in Sports Bet Army because of the election. We were betting on it, and I was giving betting updates and whatnot. And so yeah, as the night was wearing on, we were just talking about construction, lineup construction, and and things like that. But yeah, and I told people, when they go to and you talk about this all the time, go into the domination station, sort it by the ownership projections. That's going to give you a fair idea of where everyone's going to be. And then from that point on, you could just kind of pivot off of, do I have a reason to not be on Jimmy G? Do I have a reason not to be here? Well, if everyone's going to be on Jimmy G, maybe, I'm not saying that's not what I did with Jimmy G, but I had to do that with other players. Perhaps in a situation like that last week, where that game, we talked about this extensively again last night, where the weather was a situation in so many games where when we did this podcast on Wednesday, it wasn't as clear. By Sunday morning, it was getting worse. And you wanted to start pivoting off the Cleveland game, off of all these games. The Seattle game, San Francisco kind of looked like one of the better weather games, one of the better matchups. Seattle's always a good play. Perhaps sometimes the pivot is not to someone cheap. Perhaps the pivot sometimes is to a Russell Wilson. Hey, I'm going to stick in this game, but no one's going to play Russ because he's so damn expensive. Maybe I've got some cheap wide receiver options out there that I could play. Those are sometimes the thing where you don't have to go too far out. I'm going to play the same receivers. Yeah.
This was so true. Love the game, but we're on Jimmy because he's cheap. Switch it up.
And by the way, if you love a game, especially for a game stack and again, I told you last week I reverted back to not playing four-man stacks because I just didn't see a game that would do it. This week might be a little bit different, but
we got some formats.
Yeah. Last week I just didn't want to do it, but yeah, now I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting what my point was, and it was going to be a phenomenal point, I'm sure, but I'm forgetting what it was. But in that. Forget it. Go ahead. Go on because I'll remember it momentarily.
All right, I'll start to talk the rest of this game. So we love the Seattle side. We don't know who the running back is for Seattle. Could be DJ Dallas. He looked amazing. I hope it's him because we get a discount to him. Chris Carson could come back. We have to see what happens there. But if it's DJ Dallas, that's a great play. Bills are not very good against the run. They're just not that good defensively. Somebody mentioned David Moore. David Moore was actually the guy who he did well last week. Like he had a good game, and he will have a good game every once in a while. He's been up with the team for a while, and we know what he can do. He catches a big pass or two on occasion, and he puts up a big number. So, he's totally a guy that you could play. On the Bills side, it gets interesting. Stephon Diggs has been the man, right? He's been the whole offense for this team. When Allen is cooking, it's got to be more than one guy. So Stephon Diggs and who? John Brown is there. He's cheap. He hasn't done anything all year. Been kind of dinged up all season. Every time I've played him, he comes out of the game hurt. So a lot of risk with John Brown here, but he definitely has a role in this offense when he's healthy, and he could have a big game out of the blue. Same thing with Cole Beasley. Been dinged up a little bit this year, but when he's out there in a game, he doesn't have as high value targets as John Brown, but he's definitely a guy that gives you a 21 to 25 pointer a couple times a year. This might be the spot. Again, I think this is a blow up spot for the entire passing offense, potentially for the Bills. So I like all of that. At running back, it's really tough. Singletary and Moss really seem to be splitting the touches for these guys. Let me see if I have the matchups tool. Of course, I didn't open that one. I'm not even sure if it's updated, so I'm maybe it's better if I didn't open it. But
the rankings are updated. The point I was making before, though, which I did remember as you were talking, was when we're talking about pivoting off of one quarterback to the other. When it's a game like that, and like you said, we've got a few games this week. That means you have to like both quarterbacks. Almost 95% of the time, these game stacks are because we're looking for 65, 75 points in the game, which means you probably like both quarterbacks here, which means that pivot sometimes to the other quarterback is it could be a worthwhile pivot.
The pivot over to Russ was brilliant because no one did it. It was the Millie Maker winning pivot potentially. I think it wasn't what won. It was Mahomes that won the Millie Maker. But again, I have to address that. I still think playing quarterbacks that are 20-point favorites in games against terrible offenses is a donkey move. I don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we went over this last night. It won for me. I made the switch late. I was I wasn't going to do it. As a matter of fact, what I had to do was I was lowering my projections on because I wanted to use them, so I didn't want to totally not use Mahomes. So I lowered the projections, and I also didn't want to use. Not that I didn't want to use them, but I didn't want if I'm using a ton of Mahomes and I'm game stacking it, that means I'm going to get a ton of Jets on the other side, which I didn't want to do. Yeah, so I didn't want to do that. But then if you start leaving Mahomes by himself, he becomes more viable than to be put into more. So you'll get a higher percentage. We're just getting into lineup construction at this point. So then I had to reduce his projections, and then what I had a real low number, which I was satisfied with, but then I was with about an hour and a half to go before the game's locked and looking at the weather. I said, I want to just up my Mahomes a little bit here. And I don't care that I'm not stacking it because I don't think game stacks are going to be as prevalent.
Did you team stack him?
I just played him with one receiver. I could have
like Mahomes Hill, Mahomes Hardman, Mahomes Kelsey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the lineup that I won with
100K. By the way, 100K
it was the early only, and it just so happened had I forget which one of the I don't know if it was Mims or it had Berrios or Mims.
It had a comeback,
but I didn't but it wasn't intentional. I didn't do that.
Yeah, Mims was popping on the projection model and Berrios. Right. So it could be either of those guys.
I reduced both of those guys because I didn't want to have 25% Mims. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and the market, and I believe that was the only non-fire guy on my little DK thing there was
By the way,
the jet receiver.
Again, to be clear, John won 100K on Sunday with the Mahomes line.
It was with the Mahomes lineup. Again, sometimes the donkey moves work, but there was, like I said, I want to at least say I had some logic behind the.
It got weird. The slate got really.
It was just an
weird.
odd slate. It's an odd slate
because there were 5 games that really stood out great, and I'm like, why would I mess with this one when there are all these great game stacks? But the real sharp pivot was on Saturday when you're like, oh, this fucking wind is crazy, and all these games, rain and wind, and it ruined like 3 of the 5 games that we were really excited about, or 4 of them. And so at that point, it was like, all right. Now I don't like any of this. So now you can go to these kind of oddball situations and things that normally I wouldn't target because I don't want any game stacks here. So it was a really good move and reacting to the situation.
Yeah, you got to look again. We're looking for games that are going to. We're not just looking for high total games. We're looking for high total games that we think can beat the total, right? So on average, we need something. We need these games to be 65, 70, 75 points. When we're stacking. And last week, I'm looking at the board. I'm like, I don't think a lot of these games are going to be hitting in the 60s. So there's the potential for not large stack. I wasn't going to totally play Mahomes blind because his receivers are always quality. So if Mahomes was going to smash them, his receivers. I don't want to dwell on it.
Yeah, let's not dwell too much. Awesome job.
We'll do that on. We'll do it on Friday.
Yeah, we could talk about the
lineup construction.
People want the breakdowns. So, so that's pretty much it for the Seattle Bills game. That's the game I want to stack up the most out of any of them this week. This is the standout game of the week for me. And you want to have these and bringing back the point around, it's Allen, Diggs, Lockett, Russell, Metcalf, and then maybe a Brown or a Beasley.
I don't love Moss here. Someone's asking about Moss, and I don't love the running game here for Buffalo. So the reason Seattle has been pretty good, with the run is just because they throw the damn, their games are just high scoring shootouts. So the running backs for both teams, and specifically for the teams that they're playing, tend to not do as well. So I'm not high on the running back, but without a doubt, we want to smash this from a pass catching standpoint.
Absolutely. All right, let's jump to the next game in the core 4. This is my second favorite game on the slate, just past the one that we just talked about. You've got the Chargers, you got the Raiders. Chargers are at home. 1.5-point favorites, 52-point total. What's not to like about this one? Herbert has been spectacular. We already love Keenan Allen every week. Not Kyle Allen. We don't like Kyle Allen.
No.
Like Keenan Allen every week. Mike Williams, another breakout game last week for the Chargers. Raiders side, not the easiest offense to interpret. But they have some great pieces that have scored well. Darren Waller has been great. Henry Ruggs got the big play potential. You got Nelson Aguilar doing damage over there. So what do you think about this game, John, from a betting angles perspective? 1.5-point spread, Chargers at home. It feels about right. I actually don't really see anything that stands out too much here that's making me want to bet something other than maybe checking out the over.
Well, what's interesting is the market really likes the Raiders here, or at least the public, I should say, is all over the Raiders. What are we getting on? What are we seeing right now on the lines? Let me say, I'll bring it up.
I got the
live odds, but I was seeing 1.5, pretty much. It's pretty much 1 across the board. This was 3. This opened up at 3, and it's been bet down to that 1.5 number, which. I'm actually a little. I don't know why I should be. I guess, but for some reason, I'm a little surprised on that line. I guess maybe I've got like this home field. By the way, home field. Do you know how much home field is worth this year so far?
How much?
0.4.
Really?
That's all home teams have won by. I think they're like 2 or 3 games over 500. The home team. So what I told you in the beginning of the year where home field advantage is just not going to be a thing. It hasn't been a thing. So I'm just used to reading it down like Chargers. That just looks like a 3-point line. But yeah, the Raiders have played well. So I guess I can understand it. So with the line coming down and the money coming on the Raiders, that's the side we're looking at. But we love these games where you've got tight spread, high total, definitely the potential here for big fantasy points in the passing game. Your boy Herbert, I'll give him his. I'll use the right name, and Carr. I mean, Carr's not a guy typically that we're all excited about, but I mean, this is a game. And the other thing about this game is, like I said, I've said in previous weeks, when you look at my projections, you've got fairly high yardage numbers here for passing, and they're close to each other. So you've got, you're in the 270s, 280s with two teams. The score is projected to be close. It has all the makings of a game in which we're going to see. What are they at 250s or whatever for Vegas? But it's
for Vegas, you've got 258
at 295 for the Chargers. Okay,
and the Chargers are the ones that's more exciting for me. I'm personally finding, John, that I don't think I'm going to get down with Derek Carr again. I never do. But I like the Bears side of this game. I like the Chargers side. I like the Keenan Allen stack. I like the idea of double stacking him and including Mike Williams in it. So that's the side that I'm leaning towards. My hard time here is figuring out a comeback from the Raiders. I mean, Waller seems super obvious, but what about these other guys? Do we need one, or can I just go at Herbert? Like Felipe Garcia saying, man, he's like, just play Ibarra with Allen and Waller and call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, Waller's always the obvious choice, and quite frankly, tight end is just getting worse by the week. And now we lose Kittle. It's just like tight end is not good. So it kind of makes Waller in this spot even.
Waller with that high, target share.
Exactly.
That's
so
the best wide receiver. I have a hard time playing. This is part of the reason why I don't play much Derek Carr, because I have a hard time figuring out, like, do I really want to play Ruggs? He's such a like high, low volume guy. And then you've got Nelson Aguilar, and man, he, I go back a long way with Nelson Aguilar, and it's not a pretty scene with this guy.
Yeah, you guys have a history.
We have a long history, me and him.
Yeah,
Both had anxiety issues. We're, meet him over at the sports psychology place. Like, I was like, I didn't make the team. He's like, oh, I'm having issues. Remember, he did the sports psychology thing. He couldn't catch a football.
Yes.
I couldn't catch a football either. I thought it was psychological. They just said, no, you suck at sports. My issue was different than his.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be true.
I didn't have it. He has the athleticism to catch the football. That was the difference. I wasn't able to.
Yeah, but can he make winning lineups?
No.
Exactly.
No.
So
sometimes I have a hard time pulling the trigger, though. You know what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
A little bit. Can't pull the trigger. I see a lineup I love, and I just can't pull the trigger on it. Get a little nervous. I need one of those sports psychologists to talk me through it. John, you're my sports. I'm like, John,
I'm a good therapist, man.
You're basically my therapist for.
Listen, you laugh. I've actually spoken to therapists because not there. Well, yeah, I guess we used to have them, on the trading desk, and then talking to them about sports betting. I'm like, because DFS, sports betting, it's all the same. You go through big highs and lows, which has got me to the point of where I'm pretty mellow during the wins and the losses, because it is what it is at this point. So which I think is a good way to be. But yeah, this game, we didn't talk about the running backs all that much here, but I like the running backs here too. I mean, Jacobs, I like quite a bit here in this game. So I think my question to you, well, you don't really you're not in love with Carr.
I never play Carr. I haven't played him this year.
Well, I'm going to play Carr.
He's had good games, so I'm not here taking a victory lap. He's just not a guy that I like, and most of the reason is because I have a hard time stacking him. I feel like Waller isn't enough to get you there, so I need that second guy, and I never really want to play Ruggs or Aguilar that much. But I guess you have to do it. I mean, I don't think you need to care about who you like or you don't like. I would say, I mean, you could play Carr here, and you have to pretty much go maybe Waller. He's a guy you have to stack with too. He's not getting there. He's not winning me the tournament if he doesn't carry 2 wide receivers with him. I don't think that he's going to get there, or 2 pass catchers, even if one of them is a running back. I don't care, or a tight end, or it's Ruggs, Aguilar, Hunter Renfrow. Like Renfro, he's got one.
I'm okay with Renfrow. Yeah, I'm okay with Renfrow in this matchup, though. I like the matchup for Renfrow here. I mean, we're talking cheap stacks. I didn't do my stacks yet. I'll have those out by the Wolfpack podcast on Friday. So it'd be interesting to see where these are projected and what the values are. Obviously, these are going to be pretty. I would imagine the car stacks will be decent value. Although he's not really projected all that high, but
all of these, and we'll get, there's a good question about the running backs, and I do want to talk about that. But all of these wide receivers for the Raiders are like 5 or 6 target guys, all of them. And the only guy who really is getting more than 5 or 6 targets is Darren Waller, who tends to get 8 to 12 targets in a big passing game, in 9, 7, 6, 11, 4, 16, 8. So he's averaging about 9 targets per game, a couple of blow up spots. And this does project as a blow up spot. So that dude is sucking up all the passing volume, and then everybody else is just eating scraps. Now, Michael's asking about the running backs for the Chargers. I like the running back situation. I like Jefferson here. Let me put this up on screen because where is it? For the Chargers. Jackson, not Jefferson. Let me put this up on screen here real quick, John. Mm-hmm. Take a look. I don't know who the third head of the monster is. Wait, last week I had Kelly and then a new guy named Pope. All right, so Pope is the third head of the monster. 10 attempts. Yeah, what the hell is this? Wait a minute. Concussion protocol. We don't got to worry about him. Noise. I don't have to worry about that dude, Michael. I didn't even know about Pope coming out of nowhere. I'm like, who the hell is Pope? Last week it was Justin Jackson. And actually what you're seeing here is 5 targets, 17 carries. It was a running bonanza. And it wasn't Kelly that got the looks. It was Jackson. Kelly only got 7 attempts and 1 target. So I don't know what's going on with Josh Kelly. And Michael, I think that's what went on there. I think maybe they just soured on Kelly for a minute and put Pope out there. John, do you know anything about this?
No, I'm not that familiar with the situation. So I'm going to have to – I got to get out of my election mode and start digging into some of these. Yeah.
No more election bets, man. The betting, the live, they won't even live bet. Now they got my money tied up. I don't know how long it's going to. Now I have no money on my fucking I feel like my bet online account is maxed out because I was betting Trump and then I would bet Biden and hedge out. Like every time it swung, I'd be betting on the big underdog. And now I thought I was hedging, making money. Now I got no money. I bet it all.
You're going to be locked in for like 4 weeks of court cases here.
Oh, man, that's the screw. You know who's the only one making the money is Bet Online making interest on holding all my cash.
Yeah, that 0.5% interest that we're getting in
per year.
Fixed income. But yeah.
Real money. It's real money they're making on me right now. I like Josh Jackson. He's one of the first names that popped out to me in I need to pay down at running back this week. This is a game.
Yeah, I do agree with you on the because I do like the running backs here. I like the whole game. So I think the question is, can we put Jackson in with Herbert and Allen or
I think yes. Like yeah. I think this is a pass catcher.
I would agree.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Am I in love with it?
No, but I agree because of the I think because of the price. Because you can get away with it. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to get you 25 here. I mean, we're hoping for 20 plus at 4,900, and then hope that if you're going that route, of course, Herbert and is in the mid 30, 35, and we got to figure out with the wide receiver. Yeah.
I mean, if this Troymaine Pope is out, Mr. 7 targets, who the hell is Troymaine Pope? Pick him up in your dynasty league, by the way. I don't know who this guy is. But
he had 7 targets last week?
Yeah, the week 8, he had 7 targets, 5 receptions. Now he's got the concussion. 95 yards from scrimmage last week. Came out of nowhere. Messed up Michael Campbell Jr.'s day. I know about that.
I mean, they throw to the backs.
They do like to throw to it's the same team. Then they run the same. This is like Phillip Rivers when Phillip Rivers if Philip Rivers was a little bit better than he ever was.
I don't know about ever, but certainly in the last few
Herbert
years.
is better than any version of Philip Rivers.
Ooh, I don't know.
Any
Right
version.
now, yeah.
Any version.
That'll be an argument for another
I'm
day.
ready to anoint Herbert.
Yeah, I know you love him.
Better
I like
than
him too.
Pete Rivers.
Listen,
Better than there was no version of Rivers that was better than what I saw out of Herbert the last 4 weeks. His whole career. No. I'm not saying that Herbert will have a better career than Rivers. I'm saying what I've seen in the last 4 weeks, Herbert, the version of that quarterback that I saw the last 4 weeks is better than any Philip Rivers version, even when he was young.
Yeah, but he'll never be as fertile.
No. Rivers has a lot of kids. That is true. He
Yes.
has a lot of children. Got a lot of mouths to feed. That's why he's still playing.
That's right. Absolutely.
Right. I'd be playing too if shit, get out of the house also. Who the hell wants that noise? It's like I'm going to training camp for 6 weeks. Happy to. All right. That's this game. I don't know. We talk about Josh Jacobs for a second. It's the last running back. I haven't rostered him, but he did come off of a great week last week. Still didn't score a touchdown, but had a really, really solid, rushing day in the wind.
Yeah, that game was gonna be tough to score in. So
yeah, but he hasn't hit 100 yards rushing all season before that. So that was his first 100-yard game.
Yeah, I mean, I like him.
The price is right. The price is
right. I like him here. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem playing him. Again, though, so if you're playing him, you're probably not playing him with. Well, let me ask you: you're not playing him as the comeback as the other side if you have a Herbert lineup? You're not doing Herbert with Jacobs.
Who am I bringing back? I'm bringing back Waller. But if I'm doing a double, or I want to mix it up, I could bring back Josh Jacobs for sure. And I think you have to allow for the low percentage, high ceiling guys with Ruggs and Aguilar. But you don't want to go crazy. But yeah, I mean, get those guys too in these game stacks. You're building a game stack. It's a win or die. I'm not trying to come in and min cash in this. I want the Aguilar game where he catches the bomb. Or 2 bombs. I want the Ruggs game where he breaks one, and if it didn't happen, he got me a 0. I'm not doing this in high stakes, John. I'm not hanging out with you in the fucking in the monster, or not even that. What do they call it? The really expensive one, the 1,000 or the 5K.
Well, that's the Thunderdome.
Yeah, the Thunderdome. I'm not jumping in the Thunderdome throwing some Henry Ruggs in my lineup. Like, hell no. But in the tournament, 1 out of 150, sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give me the 0. Okay, I'll take the 0 too. I don't give a shit.
All right, but now if this is the game that you're going to put one lineup on, all right? So you're putting
Waller.
in $10 is your big high stake, $50, whatever your high thing, and you're going to put one entry in, and this is the game. Are you stacking it with 4 players, or are you just going with a 3-man stack in this game? You're going to take a Herbert, who's the receiver you like here, and then you're coming back with Waller on the other side.
Herbert, Keenan Allen,
and then Waller. Okay.
If I wanted to get silly with it, and I might, I would add Mike Williams into the mix. It's still coming from the Herbert side because I don't understand how Herbert wins the slate for me without carrying 2 pass catchers with him. Now, the problem is it could be any of these running backs, which is why Mike Williams doesn't get the volume. You see here, because they throw in a Traquan Pope 7 times in a game. And they're throwing a Justin. I get every fucking name wrong, by the way. Josh.
The J's drive you nuts, man. The Joshes and the Jacobs and
JJ, Josh, Justin Jackson. They're throwing to him 5 times, and the other Tremaine Pope is getting 7. Did I get it right? Tremaine Pope? Did I get that right? That's awesome. Troy Maine Pope, not Tremaine. Troy Maine. So that's already 12 targets out of, so that's why it doesn't go that much. And Hunter Henry, sure. Yeah, he's in the mix. But again, not in that massive dollar. If I'm doing a very high dollar lineup, I just want, give me Herbert. I'll do him with Allen, who's the number 1 guy. I think Allen will be in most of my lineups anyway this week, regardless of if Herbert's there or not.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the Henry is just really annoying.
Yeah, because he should be doing better than
Yes.
He should be, but he just doesn't. So who the hell wants to deal with that? It's just one of those things. All right, let's move on to another game here. The last game. Need to see what the last game is on the Core 4. All right, the last one we're going with here is the Texans taking on the Jaguars. 50.5 point total. Texans, road 7-point favorites. Road, home, doesn't matter. 50.5 point spread. Jaguars starting a new quarterback. Jacob Luton. The Gardner Minshew era seems to be dwindling away. Look good week 1. Now it's all dwindling away. Will Fuller, the subject of trade rumors, is still with the Texans. He's not going anywhere. So we've got this interesting setup, John. And the reason I brought this game up, let's talk betting angles. Jaguars got a rookie, like a nothing quarterback coming in. It's only 7-point spread, a very high total for a game where we don't know if the Jaguars will be able to execute much offense. What do you see here from a betting angles point of view?
Yeah, I already I put this one in already at 6.5. So with Houston, so I got this one I think yesterday.
So you took Houston.
I took Houston minus the 6.5.
Houston is a team that does beat up on bad defenses, and Jacksonville is bad.
Yeah, Jacksonville's just a bad team. I mean, both of these teams have obviously played pretty poorly this year, but Houston's just, I think, the superior talent. Obviously, the 7-point line indicates that. But I mean, the quarterback, I don't think there's much of a, if you're comparing quarterbacks here, there shouldn't be much of an argument. You've got the much better quarterback. You got the better.
Wait. You're saying Deshaun Watson and
yes.
Jacob Luton aren't kind of similar?
It's not comparable right now. I mean, the kid might be really good. We'll find out. But taking a quarterback in his first game is always a little sketchy.
Season Long says gave me a scouting report.
He's good for that. Now that's why I like talking to him on these.
I'm like, man, we need him when you're getting these Corona players coming out. I need Says in here with the scouting report, and he says that this quarterback is basically like Drew Lock. He's gonna He's got no run in him. He's not running anywhere. He's gonna lock on to one wide receiver and either throw it to him or throw it away.
Yeah, that's huge. See, that's huge. What you said there, though, is the no running. Because I'll give a rookie quarterback, listen, Tua was worthless in fantasy, but he won the game last week. So we're talking about betting at the moment. But yes, if you give me a young quarterback who can run, is going to get, so then he's got some fantasy value. But in this situation, that's why I don't like the game as much. So 7-point total, it's a little bit of a high total. We kind of like, that's why I like that other game better, the one that we just spoke about, 1-point total with a high 1-point spread with a high total. We've got a little bit higher total here. I mean, you're definitely going to want, if mass entering, we're going to want to have some Watsons, no doubt about it, some Watson stat, but this is not a game. This is not game stackable for me. I don't love the other side of this game. So I'm going to, certainly not going to be something I'm looking at in cash or high stakes or anything like that. This is going to be an MME play in GPPs and just Watson. I'm not playing. I'm not going to be playing Luton.
No, Luton. It's interesting the way this week sets up because that Seattle Bills game is so exciting, and then Herbert and the Chargers offense is so exciting that it's difficult to get off of it. And the setup for this Texans game reminds me of Mahomes last week. They're going up against a terrible defense. They should be able to score at will, but how will they score? And this is what kind of got me thinking. I'm like, well, the Texans don't really emphasize the running back frequently. But what happens in a game when they're smashing? Does David Johnson come into play? Is this like, oh my goodness, this is actually the game where we have to, or we should consider playing David Johnson, who's been yeoman-like all season. He has not had a game below 10 fantasy points or above 20. That's what I call yeoman-like. Not a lot of people use that word or know what it means. Even I'm not sure what it means. So I hope that I'm using it correctly. But he's been yeoman-like. I'll keep using it until you tell me I'm using it wrong.
It's you. I believe you're using it correctly, but
I was told I was told that if I can get John to laugh at anything, that that would be like something. So I try all the time.
I laugh all the time, man, but I'm trying to focus and concentrate here.
So, this is a tough setup because on the one hand, Deshaun Watson's going to smoke these dudes, right? Other hand is how does Jacksonville keep up in this game? Running it, maybe Jacob Luton locks onto DJ Chark and he throws him a fucking touchdown. Maybe DJ Chark is so good, and maybe the problem with this whole team was they refused to throw him the football. I don't know. But for the most part, yeah, this is a tournament situation. I do think that the running backs, I can't play Robinson because I don't like a massive underdog running back.
Yes, 100%.
I just don't like it. I can't get down with that.
We spoke about this. Burns has his ebook. I've done my own analysis on this with the Millie. So you're going to be, as we said, inclined to look for games, high totals for quarterbacks, that is, high totals, low spread, tight spread. And then the running backs is just going to be a higher spread, and you're going to look at the favorites, also the tight ends. So that's why you were getting a little excited there about David Johnson, because this is a spot that he should do well in. So yeah, I'm with you on the David Johnson side of it. These are the kind of things when you're building your lineups that I was speaking about. If you're going to sort it for projected ownership, these are the kind of things that you might say, all right, I'm going to throw out, the Robinson's not going to be high owned, but let's assume he was going to be decently owned. And then you say, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to take a running back here that's +7 in a game. I'd rather take the running back that's -7. So on average, it's like -4 or 5, something like that for running backs, with a slightly lower total than it is for the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. The quarterbacks and wide receivers, tight spreads, high totals, high scoring games. The running back, you don't need quite as high a total. Even though we've got a good total here.
I mean, we want these games that, again, this one has a 50-point total. I think the reason it's coming in at 50, and I was curious to see if you were like an under better here, with the backup quarterback coming in for Jacksonville. I kind of like Houston defense in this game, and that's I always want to play the defense against a rookie, so that interests me. Houston defense, I think they're a streamer in your season-long league as well. No one's played Houston It's not rostered. They stink. But it's they're going up against a rookie and a guy who had no dreams of being a starting quarterback in the National Football League this year. And so I'm interested in that. I'm interested in the under here. And I think that it's David Johnson, and you could still play Cooks and Fuller, but like which one? I mean, you could just fire at will on this team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But from a betting standpoint, I'm a little apprehensive on the under. I think I would lean slightly over. I don't think the game's going to go tremendously over. I think they can get this game into the low 50s, but nothing that's bettable. The public actually does like the under. We don't even have to look. Yeah, well, we don't have to look. Whatever you like, we pretty much know it's going to be 75% or more on the.
It's such a square.
Yeah.
But I'm always on the wrong side of it. I'm always with the public. Hate that.
There's a reason for that. You're part of the public.
Yeah, I am the public.
So it's kind of like.
Let me just warn these guys. By the way, I'm not the one giving out the bets over at Sports Army. That's John. Well, I follow his. I'm not putting out bets. I bet MMA because I can do better than the public. Man, football games. I'll leave that to John, man. I leave that to the pros, John and Ryan and Anthony. Been crushing it. So yeah, I just leave it to you guys.
Yeah, you're like
on the fucking fish side.
You're like a Nielsen rating box or a or the election poll. You're the
I'm the baseline. Like, oh, Kevin thinks this is the side. Let me see if that other side makes sense in this one.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I know just enough to be dangerous with this betting. All right. So yeah, that's it for this game. It's really Texans defense. That interests me. It's a little bit of Watson to Fuller or Cooks as like a contrarian, but this play is not that different to me from, the Josh Allen play a couple weeks ago where he was going up against the Jets, or the Mahomes game where he was going up against the Jets, where, it could blow up randomly, but the most likely scenario is the opponent isn't scoring enough to cause the quarterback and his wide receivers to definitely have a monster win you a tournament type of day. But it doesn't mean that, Deshaun Watson to Will Fuller isn't viable anytime the matchup isn't difficult, and it's viable here because the matchup isn't difficult.
Just looking. Texans are so 3,100. They'll be fairly on. I mean, and you're going to have, like I said, it's rare that we talk about defenses in the core four. We had two of them here today.
Well,
in Minnesota, 20 big, extenuating circumstances. But,
shit got weird in the core four. So let's go to the lightning round and let's see if we can find some other games. We're going to go through these quick betting angle, quick DFS perspective, rest of the games. Ready for the lightning round. Now, just as a disclaimer, anybody wants to come up with cool transitions and shit like that, let us know and we will play them on this show. All right. So, a lot of these people just email me, hey, check this out. I made this for you. I'm like, yeah, I'll play it. Okay.
Yeah, man, we need lightning graphics. We need
I'll take it. Whatever you got. Come up with it. All right. So here we go. Lightning round. First game, we've got the Bears and the Titans. Chicago 46.5 point total. Titans home 5.5 point favorites. Betting angles, John. What do you got for this one?
Just give me 1 second.
Put on screen so you could see it because I spit it out as if you would know.
You did
automatically.
But the money's coming in on Tennessee here in this one, about 3-1 on the cash side, and the tickets are fairly even. We haven't talked about that a lot this year, but when you see cash coming in on one side, but the tickets are even, generally that cash is more important than the tickets. So the tickets are 50-50. I don't know how you felt when you saw this game. You probably didn't.
I don't have an angle here. But
exactly.
The only thing that came to my mind is Bears are winning a lot of games this year, and I don't know how they're doing it. They got the chewing gum. They got some fucking tinfoil. I don't know what they're doing, but they're somehow manufacturing wins. And so to see them just as an underdog period of 5.5 points seems maybe like I might be on the Bear side of this game a little bit. Just, keep it close.
Yeah, so like I said, it's interesting because it's 50-50 on the tickets. Cash, the money is coming in on Tennessee, which again is interesting there. I agree with you. The Bears, the reason the Bears have kept games close is because the defense obviously just struggled. They've struggled offensively, but Tennessee on the flip side has really struggled defensively in this game. I do, my gut does say this game might be a little tighter than the 5.5, but it appears that sharper money is coming in on the Tennessee side. But yeah, interesting game. I mean, obviously from a DFS standpoint, not a lot to love about the Chicago side of the ball. I mean, it's
I'm not gonna. All right, there are some things to like here.
Well, not a lot.
Not a lot, but
I'll say this. Let me get this out. Montgomery is not going to be one of them for me.
They're missing a bunch of offensive linemen on Chicago. I don't know all right. I'd like to come in here, John, and be like, they're missing Jimmy Smith, Drew, whatever. Like, spit out the names of Chicago offensive linemen for you, like a fucking encyclopedia of fantasy football that I should be. I don't remember their names, but all I know is they're missing like 3 or 4 offensive linemen, either from Corona or from other reasons this week, that put a negative spin on Montgomery, who just is not that good. Let's be real. He catches pass. Sorry, David Montgomery's cousin. I know he watches the show. He's just not that good. So it's hard to really want to invest a lot of my lineups in a guy who I'm really relying on PPR for a lot of. I don't mind. I'll play him. By the way, I'm not as hateful as you because he's catching passes and he's out there 90% of the time, but he just hasn't been that good. And the lack of the offensive line woes, which are legitimate for Chicago right now, 3 or 4 guys out from the starting crew. And you guys who are watching, you can let me know exactly who they are if you want. But I was researching David Montgomery yesterday, and I saw this, and it's not an ideal situation. The guy who I'm interested in is really Allen Robinson because he just does well. I mean, he's a good player every single week, and I don't ever mind playing Allen Robinson. It's not a game that I'm specifically looking to get exposure to, but Allen Robinson, no one ever plays him. And, let's see what his salary is.
He had a great catch last week.
That touchdown, yeah, 6,900. Tennessee 30th against the pass. So there's positives for the passing game. And you know what? Even if you wanted to go crazy with Darnell Mooney or even Miller, what the hell?
Well, I've got the Bears projected at 250 yards, which is tremendous for the Bears.
I mean,
it's because of Tennessee.
11 targets last week for Anthony Miller. You know, by the way, we can knock Montgomery, but he played the Rams. He got the Saints, the Bucks. So of this little run where he's been the guy, it's not like these are Colts. These have been a murderer's row of run defenses. So he could have, if it wasn't for the offensive line woes, I would like him a lot more here.
Yeah, you're going to have to see. I'm curious when Burns comes out with his offensive line, defensive line. I don't know if it's updated yet, but I would imagine this is going to be one of the more lopsided matchups because what you said from the Chicago offensive line standpoint. I'm looking at some other metrics, and this might be the most lopsided matchup, the offensive line of the Bears against Tennessee. So I'm not in love here with
Hunter Henry. New. I don't really like the Tennessee side very much at all. I didn't mention that. And again, we're going to try to quick hit this. Michael,
no, I think you got to be careful. Yeah, you got to be careful on the Tennessee side. The Bears have really looked pretty good defensively.
Bears cause the Tennessee guys are priced as if they're doing what they do every week. The Bears cause offenses to score fewer fantasy points a lot of the time. So that's not a situation where I'm trying to get down with. Robinson to line up by himself, yes, but I think that Keenan Allen in a similar price point is the guy I'm going to default to over Robinson. That, not to say anything bad, I like Robinson in spot, but Keenan Allen I like more, and I like his game more. So there's not really that much of a reason with Allen at 7K and Robinson, unless I have money for both. I'm going to always default to Keenan Allen here. I'm pointing it out on screen as
well. I think more often than not only can you, I think the better question is, can you play Robinson with Foles? Not can you play Robinson by himself?
I don't think I get. Can you play Foles here?
No, I'm not particularly. I probably won't have any of them, but I think that's the question. I think you're going to more likely have Robinson by himself than you will with Foles. Yeah. So,
I like Robinson. Yeah. I don't like Foles. I don't like Foles very much. And again, Tennessee side very tough across the board. If I had to play a guy, it's probably Jonnu Smith, stud off of multiple duds. I like that scenario, and I do think that Burns will agree that low scoring, this setup is like the tight end setup against a good defense. That's where you want to play the tight end because they Bears have elite cornerback play and they're good against the run. What happens there? You throw to the tight end.
He's in a really good. He's got Roquan Smith on him. I like the matchup. And it really fits nicely with what we're looking for from a point spread and total standpoint.
And from a cheapness perspective, because Jonnu Smith has been coming down in salary week after week. He's now under 4K on DraftKings. All right, let's move on to the next game. Wait, I gotta have my brand up here. The lightning round. John, we got a turd explosion game happening here between the Giants and the Washington football team. Giants coming in as 3-point underdogs with a 41.5 point game total. This one looks gross from a scoring perspective. And again, do you see anything on this line? And I do. That this is like making me want to bet, and I don't like it because I'm usually wrong on this. But John, I kind of like Washington here. I think I want to give up the points. Maybe wait for this to turn to 2.5 and give up those points, man. Giants are really bad.
Well, you finally picked a game that you're going to go against the public on.
Yeah, motherfucker.
The Giants you got to remember, the Giants are coming off a game where they probably should have won against Tampa, who's one of the top teams in the league. So that's fresh in people's minds here. Washington, I mean, both of these teams obviously are not very good, but that coming off that Monday game, a lot of people are looking at that like, oh, maybe the Giants are a little bit better here than we thought. They played fairly good defensively. I'm with you on there. If you can get 2.5, which I think, obviously the books here
right now. Oh, wait, no. I'm not seeing a 2.5 right now, but if I keep staring at this tool,
no, you'll get it.
It's going to come at some point, especially if the public is betting.
Just a quick lesson: if you look at those lines, they're -3. -3 plus 104 is highlighted because that's the best line there. So if you're seeing some -3 plus monies, there's probably a book out there that's got that's giving you -2.5.
Or it's not long before this book.
Or
changes
yeah.
The reason I really like Washington, and Felipe's suggesting a stack here that looks horrible, but the reason horrible but silly for the Millie, fine. But the reason I like Washington here is that Washington defense is shockingly good. They're much better. They're just an underrated team defensively. Now, again, we just saw the Giants torch the Bucs. That's like a once a season anomaly. This is a Bucs team that overlooked the Giants a little bit. Came in like let's wipe out these scrubs. Washington doesn't have the luxury of looking at any team and being like overlooking them. They're going to come in here against the division rival and play their best game. And, their defense is just better than the Giants' offense is. It's been aggressive. I expect turnovers in this game. And the Giants are just, a loser team. They're going to be losing. They're competing with the Jets for that first pick. They're not out here trying to win games for real. Now, Felipe's asking about a Jones, Slayton, Scary Terry. Man, that's about as gross of a game stack probably as you can find all season.
That won't be me. I'm not going to have that. You touted Washington's defense correctly. The Giants' defense hasn't been awful.
No, Giants' defense is good.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the other perceptive thing. We talk about James Bradbury every week. Bradbury's going to keep me off of Scary Terry. Love Terry McLaurin. I just don't like taking. Now people are like, hey, you said not to play fucking Mike Evans against Bradbury, and look, he scored a touchdown. The guy had 5 receptions, 55 yards, and a touchdown. That is not a game that you want to pay up for Mike Evans for. And I'm not using that as evidence that Bradbury isn't good. I use it as evidence that, this guy is good. And it wouldn't shock me if Terry got 5 receptions for 60 yards. As a matter of fact, you know what? Where's my props tool? I don't know if we'll have it's early in the week for this. No,
you're not going to get it yet. But
in the week,
and we don't want to spend too much time on this. But bottom line is, McLaurin's not going to get you the kind of points that it's going to take to win a GPP. End of the story. So
not paying enough for him. So the only play for me here, Washington defense, top play. Giants defense, secondary. To play them. But Washington is my favorite play on this one. And then let's avoid.
Daniel Jones likes to turn it over, so absolutely.
Yeah, no, disaster. All right, next game. In the Lightning. Wait, that's the wrong one. Oh, whatever. Lightning round. Baltimore Ravens. This one's kind of interesting. Indianapolis Colts. Ravens road 2.5-point favorites. 47-point total on this game, John. And does anything stand out to you from a betting perspective? And I will say again, here I'm thinking it looks like the Ravens, given the points, makes a little bit of sense here. What do you say?
I gave this game out.
Is this a bet? Well, don't give. There's a free
I'm not going to give it out. So I won't give it out here. I gave you guys one of the other game that I gave out. But, so I gave this game out. It is pretty much 50-50 here from a cash standpoint and even the tickets. So the public's pretty split, which I think is understandable. The Colts have played really solid on defense. Again, there's a reason this is in our lightning round. Not a game that you're going to particularly love just because of both defenses here in this game. The Colts just keep it. They slow it down. They want to run the ball. They don't. It's not an exciting offense, but they're playing really well from an actual football standpoint. And then Baltimore's just been disappointing.
I think the Colts are going to get smashed here.
I'm not saying a word. We could talk in the private Slack.
We'll talk. Listen. I'm not. I don't know nothing. So I give my opinion. I think the Colts are going to get smashed here, and I'm going to tell you why. The Colts do not have a great passing offense this year. Looks like T.Y. Hilton may be hurt for this game, and they haven't been very good anyway. So they've been living on their running backs and their defense. But defensively, I don't think you can slow down Lamar that much. I think he's not a traditional quarterback that you can really mess with. If his knee is fine, he's going to run for first downs, and he'll keep those drives alive. The running game with Dobbins and Gus Edwards came alive last week. This just sets up as the Colts get smashed in this game to me. And I like the Ravens side. I like Ravens defense here a little bit. And I just like the Colts period. Not the Colts, the Ravens period in this game to get back on track. Now, the question is, can I play Lamar Jackson in DFS, and can I pair him with anybody? And I'm gonna yes, I say yes. I say yes. I think the Colts are actually a pretty good run defense, and I don't mind. I'll go right back to Andrews, and I'll go right back to Marquise Brown over on FanDuel where he's cheap. And, I'll take my chances with this one on a low owned tournament only, crazy town, silly for the millie. Everybody playing Seattle, everybody playing Buffalo. Let me be a little silly here and play Lamar Jackson, which sounds silly, but probably isn't that silly. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be MME.
Yeah.
Obviously, GPPs. Not in love with it. Don't like the Colts side of this game. Yeah.
No comeback. No comeback. Definitely no game stack for me. I don't like the Colts.
No. It's not a game stack. There's just there's better options, obviously, out there this week. Whenever I look at Lamar, I have to look, is this a game that maybe I want to take him by himself? I don't think it is. So I wouldn't go that route either. I'm going to have him in a few lineups. It's not going to be. I'm not going to have him all that much.
Not a focal point stack. As a matter of fact, I think the Ravens defense is the thing that makes me the most interested.
The one thing about the Ravens defense here in this game is they're not turning the ball over, the Colts, because they play very conservatively. So it's probably, and they're probably going to be
they're priced
expensive.
Yeah,
so it's not a defense that I care about all that much either. Because, like I said, they don't turn it over. So unless Baltimore gets out to a big lead and you force Rivers to throw, because Baltimore will get pressure. That can happen. Yeah, because then Baltimore could get, although they don't, they're just, again, they play such a conservative style. They're not giving up a lot of sacks either, the Colts. So it's not one that I'm particularly jumping all over that defense either. So not a game I love.
All right, let's move on to the next game. This one's got maybe a little. This actually quite has quite a bit more action. Kind of surprised it didn't make the core 4. Blame you for it a little bit. Blaming you.
You're the host, man. You're the host.
I choose the core 4, but somehow that's why I can call it out however I want. All right, here we go. Next game, core 4. Not the core 4. This is the lightning round.
Lightning round.
The lightning round, not the core 4. What am I saying? Carolina Panthers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. K-Sizzles in the house. Minus 10.5 point favorite. 52.5 point total. A high total game. Because every game that the Chiefs are involved with crosses 50 on the game total because they score a lot, right? And this is the Panthers. A very bad defense, or a very mediocre defense this season. Not that bad, actually. Mediocre, nothing special defense. Maybe the return of Christian McCaffrey. Maybe. Probably. Love Christian McCaffrey. Now, what are the betting angles here? 10.5 point spread, 52.5 point total. Anything to bet here?
I don't have anything on there. Let me just take a quick look at the... if I can see where the money's coming in, if at all, on this game. I'm not seeing anything. Oh, here it is. Yeah, we've got so it's actually slightly more money on the Carolina side of this game, which is interesting. 10.5. Interesting. Yeah. Well, that's the money. So the tickets, and that always tends to be when there's a disparity with the tickets, that tends to be sharper money. So there is, because there's it's like 50-50 on the tickets with Kansas City, but more money on Carolina. So, yeah, at the 10.5, I guess there's some sharp money potentially out there on the Carolina side of this game, which is interesting. The Carolina pass defense, you said the defense is mediocre, but their pass defense has played fairly well.
It's not been that bad. They've been running on them. And
you can run on them, yeah.
And the Chiefs don't really like to run that much, so... But, that could change this week, by the way. She gets crazy. Last week, I thought they'd smash the Jets via the run, because why bother throwing it? And what do? They throw for 5 touchdowns, sit Mahomes in the fourth quarter. I'm still bitter. But,
hey, man,
I'm happy you won your 100K.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not bitter. Actually, I'm not bitter because I'm all about my friends. Last week, we had so many DFS Army members take down tournaments. It's crazy. It makes up for, I didn't have such a great Sunday. I had a terrible Sunday, but seeing all the money and everybody winning, I'm like, shit, must be doing something right. Okay, fine by me. So in the case of this game, I like the Panthers offense a little bit here. They're playing from behind. We like DJ Moore. We like Robbie Anderson anyway. You got Christian McCaffrey coming back. Curtis Samuel, I think, is a little bit dangerous play coming off a big game because the touches they've been giving him the last couple of weeks have been Christian McCaffrey touches in a normal week. So if Christian McCaffrey is back and in full gear, then I like Christian McCaffrey, or then I would like Christian McCaffrey in the spot because, he's Christian McCaffrey, fucking A, and no one's going to play him. Everybody's going to wait a week to see if he's healthy. But if I get any sort of word out of this Panthers coaching staff that McCaffrey is a full go, John, are we going to get word about this? What do you think? Or are we going to have to guess? We usually get word.
No, we'll have word before the game, so we'll know. Like
he's going to be a full go, or hey, we're going to monitor his snaps. You know what I mean? If I'm getting him a full go, that's what I'm excited for.
No, full go, and then all right. Let's just go under the assumption that he's going here. Then he becomes the player that if you want to use a Mahomes lineup, and you want to stack. If you want to make this a 4-man stack, then you do it with McCaffrey if you can. It's kind of crazy. McCaffrey's 8,500, so you might not be able to.
They didn't exactly price him down for the comeback off the injury.
No, they didn't. And I'm not looking at Mahomes, but typically he's going to be one of the more expensive, one or two. He's number one, right? 8,100 this week. So it's going to be pretty impossible. Pretty impossible to use. So right, but now, so the question is,
it's not a situation. It's not a def. I don't like to attack the Chiefs' defense.
Not typically, but it's it's a different situation though because you're dealing McCaffrey. You're dealing with it's a different situation. This is tough because of the pricing on this game.
The affordable pieces in this game are really the ancillary pieces. Like get rid of the quarterbacks and just start talking about. All right, I could probably afford DJ Moore. He's underpriced. And I can get maybe even more and McCaffrey together in sort of a stack, and then maybe throw it up against like Mecole Hardman and like some weird combination of players from this game that's almost like a secondary stack, but maybe not built around a very expensive quarterback. There's no doing that.
Here's my problem. So now, they've priced it prohibitively, and then we're trying to force in a game that doesn't necessarily set up the way we really like the setups to be. It's a 10.5 point spread. It's a game that could potentially be a blowout. And then we're trying to force in these secondary pieces into that game. So on the whole, this is going to be, I'll be fairly low on McCaffrey. Probably just be in more lineups as a solo play.
I am going to tell you in advance of the beginning of this slate that when you run the optimizer, you are going to find a lot of DJ Moore in your lineups. I'm just giving you a heads up on that. Because of the salary,
is he coming up big on value?
Yes, he's going to be in your lineup if you don't adjust it and rightfully so. I mean, he's low. He's in the mid fives. It's a high scoring game, lots of passing projected, and he's going to be in your lineups if you don't make a change. So that's a guy that's going to pop as a value play on the slate. I assume. You know what? I'll pop up the Dom.
Yeah, he's second behind Parker.
Oh, if you take you start to look at wide receiver and you're looking for value, and it's like, who's the guy? Oh, there he is, Anderson and Moore. So I'm just giving you the heads up. Be aware, this guy's gonna show up in your lineups unless you don't want him to. Keenan Allen is my favorite guy, but he's still. This is the group, man. This is it. So Hunter's asking about Marcus Johnson. Yeah, I mean, okay, cheapy guy. We talked about him last week. All right. Ty will be out. We talked about Marcus Johnson, but then, last week, but he didn't get any run. But yeah, I mean, that's just another turd. But you can see who the names are that are going to start popping. Anyway, all right, let's go back to the odds table for the next game in the lightning round. Ooh, I just thought of something coming up for one of the later games. What's going to stick around, guys? Stick around. I got some fun stuff coming up for one of the later games. But here we go. Broncos Falcons. Interesting line. Falcons at home, 4-point spread, 50-point game total. Falcons as a favorite, John. this is not a team that wins games. What the hell's going on here? And the Falcons come as a favorite here. Calvin Ridley seems like I think he might be hurt, which means Julio Jones time in this game. Very interesting. Anything stand out here about these lines? 50-point, 4-point spread. So looks like if you look at some of the lines, it looks like it's gearing more towards the 3.5 than it is towards 5.
Yes, it's definitely if you're looking to take Atlanta and you're seeing 4, you can hold off on that. You're probably going to get 3.5 at some point. It's definitely it's juiced
Okay.
that.
I'm liking Broncos +4.
Yeah, I mean I'm not going to give too much on my opinion on this one. I might have this one this week, but from a cash standpoint, we've got about slightly more money coming in on the Atlanta side. Tickets are 50-50, which again indicates potentially some larger sharp money on the Atlanta side, and which also coincides with the line. Well, actually, the line is coming down, which is interesting, and then the money is on Atlanta. So when you look at it that way, it's sort of a reverse line movement. So there's conflicting information, let's just say, on this game. But Atlanta's been better with. Atlanta should have won more games. They should have obviously won that Dallas game. They've been better with Julio. When Julio's in there, they have played better. Denver's coming off just a miraculous win last week, so a lot of people like going against the team that came off the big comeback win, leave it all out on the line sort of game. From a DFS standpoint, I mean the spread and the total kind of fit what we're looking for, right?
Yeah, I mean everything. The only thing that doesn't stand out to me is just the team names, like Denver. What the fuck are they doing in a 50-point total game? And the Falcons, they're not traditionally like that good against a good defensive team, which the Denver is. But then again, Denver's on the road. But this has all the elements except for the two team names that were kind of like, gross. I don't like doing anything against Denver.
Look,
I just saw Herbert go bananas against Denver last week. So
look at the rankings. They're both up there 280-ish.
I mean, there you go. This is where you gotta look at. This is the stuff. My brain tells me certain things, and then I look at the power rankings. I'm like, wait a second here. That's a lot of passing yards, 278 and 282. I wasn't expecting it. Even for Denver, 278. Who the fuck is Denver throwing to? Tim Patrick? I don't even know who to roster on Denver. Jerry Jeudy? He hasn't done
Jeudy. Yeah, no, he hasn't done anything, but potentially this week. I want to just look at the matchups with the D-backs, but
throwing to like Jerry Jeudy, 10 targets last week. All right, okay. Play some Jerry Jeudy. First time this year. How about Patrick? If Patrick's coming back, I like that.
I think
tag. It looks gross, but he's had some big games.
Got to look at tight end as well.
Noah Fant and my boy Albert O.
Yeah, so Fant's probably I like Fant, like Jeudy on the Denver side.
Yeah, you got to get on down with 9 targets, 10 targets. This guy's just been getting targets, man.
Yeah, he likes Fant. Fant's I think Fant's going to keep getting better. He's going to be one of the top tight ends, I think, by next year, as long as the quarterback play is decent enough to get him the ball. So yeah, I do like Fant here in this game quite a bit. I don't like, not in love with the running backs. And so I like the passing options in this game. Is it game? It's odd to have a Drew Lock game stack, but I think I'm going to throw.
I mean, can you really get? And then you got to bring it back with Julio Jones.
I think I'm going to use it though because I'm going to get help on the pricing there. So I think this is a game I'm going to be game stacking.
Wait a minute, King Cardio, man, you are my guy. This is the question I love to hear. How do I join DFS Army? How are you not in DFS Army already, man? Get in there. Go to dfsarmy.com. Sign up as a VIP. Use promo code GEEK when you sign up. You get everything that we do. dfsarmy.com. 20% off. Promo code GEEK. Get in there. And if you want John's bets, guys, if you want these picks, if you are a sports bettor who wants to be good at it and learn how to do it and get picks from really, really sharp. You want to be on the sharp side of it? I hate being a fucking fish. That's why John works here, because I don't want to be the fish. So I'm like, John, what are we doing here? Is this a fish bet? And then he's like, yeah, don't be on that side of it. The sharps are on this side. I'm like, yeah, I like being on the side with the sharps, man. Go to sportsbetarmy.com. You sign up over there. Use promo code. What the hell's your code, man?
Statsational.
Statsational. Most of these guys can't spell Statsational. So maybe like it's written right here in case you couldn't spell it. Where is it? Statsational.
There it is. There you go.
I can't even, it's not an easy word.
Stats and then ational, or stat and sational.
Statsational. I guess you could spell. It says Lowski that no one can spell. That's the one. I can't spell Seslowski from the other show. S-E-Z, S. I don't know. Statsational you can spell. All right. So go over to sportsbetarmy.com. Get signed up over there. You get John's picks, Anthony's picks, Ryan's picks. My MMA bets haven't lost a fucking event. Guys, in how long? Like months?
Props from Mutt. Yeah.
I should be charging $50 a month just for MMA bets. And I'd be undercharging compared to other places. Their guys charge $250 for what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, they have been good. They have been good bets.
Even Ryan's been tailing the bets.
Well, it's tough. It's tough not to when
But Ryan's like, if you don't have a model, I don't want your bets. And I'm like, dude, but I watched the tape. Different. I don't have a model. I just watched the tape. No Matthew Stafford, COVID list, solo, showing up late with some late breaking info that we talked about at the beginning of the show. All right, let's talk about the next game. I like Julio Jones a lot, though. Here, by the way,
Yeah, and like I said, you can get some salary relief with a potential long shot. In a big GPP with stacks in this game. So.
All day. All right. There's still a couple of games left, one of which is kind of sexy and the other one is kind of sketchy. So let's talk about the sketchy before the sexy. The next up in the lightning round. All right. Defense alert. Defense alert. The Steelers are taking on the Cowboys, coming in as 13.5-point road favorites. They're going to desecrate the star in Jerry Jones's stadium in this game. 41.5-point total. This is not going to be pretty, John. Cowboys running out a team of they're using a multiple quarterback approach in this game where they're going to give more than one person some snaps. I don't even know what the hell is going on, but it looks really bad. It looks so bad.
It is bad. The Danucci was, listen, for his first game in a game and win. I will not that he looked great, but he looked like he belonged at, like he was at least mobile, ran around a little bit. I would have just went back to him this week, but yeah, they're in a tough spot. I mean, Pittsburgh's one of the best teams in the league. What's interesting, what I wanted to point out with Dallas, a couple of things. Dak going down, number one, it shows you.
Harsh, by the way. Harsh and hurtful.
Hurtful. Oh, I know.
So hurtful.
Well, that's what you got to keep, listen, by the time Sunday comes, things change quite a bit.
Yeah, that weather, we talked about that too, Solo. Don't worry about it. We took our medicine. I took my medicine. John won 100K. So, I took the medicine. John won 100K. I know. Yeah,
I want to hit this point on Dallas. So, because it's pertinent to in DFS. You lose a quarterback. One, you realize how unimportant these running backs are and how interchangeable they are, because all of a sudden Zeke Elliott is very average, if that. Okay. And you're also finding out, we know how bad the Dallas defense is, right? All of a sudden, though, the Dallas defense hasn't looked nearly as bad
because they're not scoring. It's that combination. That's
exactly. So if you have a team, and this is why typically, I hate to bring it up again, but the Jets, typically we're not looking to target against the Jets because teams with really bad offenses tend to not be great to target the opposition against. One, teams don't take a lot of chances against them, not a lot of fourth downs that they're going for. They play conservatively, they'll kick field goals, things of that sort. Plus just the tempo of the game is not what it is. So you're seeing that in dramatic fashion this year, because you've gone from the number one or one of the top 2 or 3 offenses in football and the number 1 offense last year to maybe one of the worst offenses, if not the worst offense right now in the game. And suddenly their defense is giving up a ton less points. So just be aware of that, where don't have the mindset of Dallas week 2 here. This is a different Dallas team altogether.
Terrible. And the Dallas is like, Jets, you think you're bad? Hold my beer. Check out this offense we're about to throw out there. You know what I mean? That's how horrific. And they're going up against pretty much the best scoring defense. And this is why. So you're right. And actually, Solo, and this is for you, my man. This is a very similar setup to the Mahomes game last week. Okay? It's like the same situation. I don't normally target a game like this because Dallas won't be able to score. So why the hell would Pittsburgh keep their foot on the gas? It doesn't mean they won't do it. This game could happen, and Ben Roethlisberger could just throw 5 touchdowns. Deontay Johnson catches 2 of them or 3. They inexplicably don't start running the football middle of the game when they just can. And, and then all of a sudden, Claypool's getting 2 touchdowns. Everybody's goes crazy. That could happen. It's not outside of the realm of shit that could happen. But the most likely scenario is Pittsburgh comes out. They probably score a defensive touchdown at some point. They run for 1 or 2 with Connor or Snell. They throw 1 for maybe Claypool or Deontay, maybe even 2. But, by the 4th quarter, Ben Roethlisberger is already sitting on the bench and some other quarterback is finishing out the game. We get the return of Mason Rudolph or something. Like, that's the most likely scenario. And the only – wait. I've got a question for the turd detector. Taco, you out there, man? I got a turd detector question for you. Can I play anything from Dallas this week? Let's just ask the turd detector, see what it has to say.
No.
It has spoken.
Yes.
Don't touch the Dallas. And really, don't mess too much with the Pittsburgh side. I think Connor is in play. I'm a little worried about Benny Snizzles, coming in late when they don't need Connor on a team that maybe is concerned about him. But, anytime your team is massively favored. But the biggest play here and the best play at defense on this slate is Pittsburgh Steelers defense. On FanDuel, I will have this lock buttoned, guys. I'm just going to play them pretty much in every lineup. On DraftKings, they priced it up so high over the second best defense that they really do cause reason to be like, dude, I can't fucking pay $4,800 for a defense on DraftKings. But on FanDuel, where the prices are, but this is why FanDuel is a little easier. These situations, I'm just going to play them in every lineup. Sorry. Quarterback by committee? No. Guys who were behind Ben DiNucci on the fucking depth chart? Behind Ben DiNucci? All right. That's like going to Spumoni Gardens, right? And the normal pizza guy, he's not there to make the pizzas, but his backup he's not there either. Now the delivery boy is like in there making the pizza. I'm like, wait. I don't want a fucking delivery boy pizza. I don't even want the backup to the main guy pizza. I want the main guy, but I'll take his backup. No, the delivery boy? Has he ever made a pizza? No, but he's seen it done. Yeah, I had to do something with DiNucci and pizza, bro. I had to.
I'm with you, but now it's like the guy who changes DiNucci's oil is quarterback.
Yeah, it's not even that's not the delivery guy. That's right. It's the guy. Yeah, it's the oil change guy. That's even better. Like the delivery guy was making the pizza. You're like, all right, at least he works there. No, they got the mechanic from next door to come over because everybody got the Rona.
Yeah, because he eats a lot of pizza.
He goes to the garden. He put the sauce under the cheese.
And they don't know. No. The cheese under the sauce. Normal pizza, the cheese is on top of the sauce.
Yeah, but at
Spumoni Gardens, the cheese is under the
over the cheese.
No, the sauce over the cheese, correct.
That's what I'm saying. But this guy put the cheese over the sauce. Is what I'm saying. He made it wrong.
Exactly. You don't know what he's doing.
Pomoni square slide. All right.
Yeah. You're making me hungry.
So,
I'm on a diet, by the way. Yeah, so
this is the fucking dishwasher making the pizza. I don't mind the dishwasher, but don't give me the freaking. Where do you guys? Hunter? All right. Yeah, I could see Deontay with 2 touchdowns, by the way, as well. I like Deontay as a one-off play. I just want to say in that game.
If you want to use, if you want to use some pieces, absolutely. But listen, Ben is not Mahomes. Last week was just, it was a perfect storm, and I got lucky. And
I'm legitimately, John. I'm legitimately concerned that everybody's going to chase those type of.
Yeah, because I remember
specifically every game that
I know.
Done.
But you don't have, like, Ben doesn't normally put up those points. Like Mahomes could do it. Obviously, he's a generational type of player. Ben, fantastic Hall of Famer, whatever. He's 40 years old. He's not putting those. They're going to get up in this game, go on cruise control, not put Ben in any harm's way. It's not the same situation.
Yeah, I don't want people chasing that scenario. I made this whole big point about it last week. Of course, it blew up in my face. That always happens. But watch, I remember the other time it happened, like Josh Allen last year at Miami. Like, that happens a couple times a year where that setup will work out. But the vast majority of the time, if your quarterback is sitting in the fourth quarter, he probably didn't do enough to get you there. The running game, the defense, your quarterback might have 9 fantasy points in that scenario. So that's what in tournaments you can do whatever you want. It's more of a cash play and 3-max approach that I always talk about anyway. In tournaments, anything can happen. Play fucking Ben in tournaments. I don't give a shit. But I'm talking about if I'm trying to set up a situation where I'm in a position to try to be in a high likelihood outcome, that's where I don't want to mess with games like this. All right. Last game in the lightning round. I'm not even going to play the transition for this one because we're so limited in time. We're going to hit 2 hours. Miami, Arizona. This is an important game, actually. Could have been a featured game in my mind. Miami's coming in as 5-point underdogs on the road in Arizona. They're over there counting ballots right now. No one's paying attention to football in Arizona. But a big game is coming. Miami's coming to town with Tua. Tua looked like shit last week. So let me break this. First of all, betting angles, right? 5-point spread, 48-point total. Tua looked bad last week, right? Everybody saw it. Playing one of the best defenses in the league. Eyes. They saw it. Yeah, I mean, Solo remembers Lamar Jackson at Miami. You can remember these games. I can remember them. It's like they happened a couple times. But how many other times did that game happen and it didn't blow up? That's why we talk about it. But Tua looked bad last week, John, and this is where psychologically I'm interested in this game. Number 1, Miami defense, very good. Number 2, Kyler Murray, beyond very good. The best quarterback from a fantasy scoring perspective, floor ceiling this season, in my opinion. And I'm putting him over Russell Wilson because of the running game. Russell Wilson might sit back and cruise a game or two. This guy's always going to be running around like a lunatic. So, and he can throw. So he can run and throw. The setup is better than Lamar. He's Lamar Jackson, but better. Not in the sense he's a better runner, but he's a better thrower. So we've got this interesting setup, John, where Miami is coming off this game where they won, but offensively, Tua looked pretty bad. The common perception is going to be Tua not ready for prime time just yet. Can't be trusted here to make a game of this. So I want to get your take on it psychologically. My eyes tell me, yeah, he didn't look that good last week. My brain says, who cares what he looked like last week? This is a new week. And last week he played the Rams, one of the best defensive teams in the league. Now he's playing the Cardinals, who are a good defense, but definitely not on the list of elite defenses. So my question is, can we game stack this? You've got a good Miami defense. You've got a pretty good Arizona defense, and you've got a guy in Tua that no one likes, but you've also got Kyler Murray, who everybody loves.
I'll say you can game stack this game, absolutely. I'm not playing Tua, though. I'm going to game stack it from the Murray standpoint, obviously.
He's very cheap.
Yeah, I don't like that. So I think I'll be staying away from Tua. in this game. I hate staying away from guys who have who have potential with their legs, though, quarterbacks. So I'll be thinking about it. I'll probably have my mind changed by Friday when we do the Wolfpack. But as of now, Tua is not really on my radar. Murray is always on my radar. Miami has, you are right. Miami's defense has been much better than we anticipated. But
they see the name Miami and they're like, oh, that's a bad team. Miami's a good team and their defense is well above average. Let's put it that way.
My God. It's a little above average. Here's the thing, though. You can throw on them. What do we got?
I got to ask the turd detector.
Oh, God.
About Jordan Howard.
I see the question.
Turd detector. Can I play Jordan Howard with Myles Gaskin out this week? Even with Myles Gaskin out, the turd detector does not like Jordan Howard. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? Miami defense good. Let's get back to the point.
They'll give up.
Is it good enough to stop Kyler Murray? It's fucking Kyler Murray.
They've been good, but they if you look at the rankings, they've been susceptible to the pass. So I think Murray's fine here. I think the usual options on the Arizona side.
Chase Edmonds coming in as the full blast starter. No more Kenyon Drake to hold him down. That dude has smashed when he started.
Love Edmonds.
There we go. That's what I like to hear. I love Edmonds too. Kyler Murray with Edmonds in the lineup together. I'm super down with that.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins. I do like game stacks. I think a little bit maybe. I like the game stack. Give me some Devontae Parker here.
Yeah, well, Parker's your big value guy on the DS.
Yeah, he's popping as a value. Well, they dropped his price down to 5,200 because they saw the game last week. That was Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey was covering this dude. They don't have no Jalen Ramsey on this team. Patrick Peterson. Let me tell you something, Patrick Peterson. I've met Jalen Ramsey, and you, sir, are no Jalen Ramsey.
It's very that's a very it's a good reference. It's a dated reference. It's a good reference.
No one knows what that is.
It's a good reference for the day after an election, but I'm not sure most people remember that debate.
Oh boy, you, sir, are no Lincoln Kennedy, I believe.
Kennedy. Yeah, I knew John Kennedy.
Yeah,
you are no John Kennedy.
Yeah. There it is. Listen, I'm topical, man, but you got to be fucking on it. John, you're on it. I love it. So, yeah, this is a great setup. I love Devontae Parker here. You could even play. You ready for this? In the tournaments, try to get a little silly for the millie. Want to make the money? Get money. What you say? Get money. You want to get that money? How about Preston Parker? How about Mike Gesicki, the most hated tight end in all of football? Could happen. He's been practicing with Tua, like on the side. I heard they have like a nice chemistry.
Yeah, it's a good matchup. It's a good tight end matchup here. So I do like I like Gesicki. Yeah, there's some good pieces in this game. I absolutely like playing this game here. So
I like a lot of the pieces. The one big question on everybody's mind: what running back can we play for Miami? And I believe the answer is none of them.
I don't like running backs here. Yeah,
I think the answer is just don't.
They're going to have to throw in this game. I think Arizona will put enough points. So I don't think this is a 70-point game, but I think Arizona will put enough points on. I think it's going to force Tua to have to throw the ball. I think he's going to play better than he did last week. For sure. I don't think he plays well enough where he's going to pop 30, 35 points.
We don't think, but I do want to point out this one thing. No one thought that Herbert was going to smash in his first games and the games against good defenses either. And no one really believed that Joe Burrow was going to have these great games. And this is something I talked with Cez a little bit about on the other show. It's like this idea that a elite rookie quarterback can't come in and have a good game is something that we need to remove a little bit from our mind. Yes, we saw Tua look pretty bad. Again, one of the best defensive teams in the league, maybe the best, the Rams right now. Maybe the best. I think Steelers are the best. Bucks, Rams, they're all in the group of top 5. We'll give him that. So, yeah, he looked bad, but so what if he looked bad? That doesn't guarantee that he's going to look bad again. And I just want to open up the mind to the possibility that Tua has a good game, a really good game.
It's definitely possible. So that's why I like this from a game stack. Again, like I said, right now I'm looking at it. Probably not going to play a lot of Tua, but come Friday when we do the Wolfpack, I'll be telling you, yeah, I'm playing Tua. So
that's what I'm saying. You'll be on tour by Friday. Yeah, I mean, because I'm opening up your mind to it right now. This is what happens with me and John. We have this, we do that, and then on Friday we come back with the Wolfpack. That's the DFS Army Roundtable, VIP only, so only for subscribers, where we really break down the slate from a tournament perspective. Usually have a third DFS Army guy. Burns is awesome. Bobby Clinks when we can get him. So we usually have a third, of course, Cash Keg, and Big Marley. Anybody who we can get on there. Try to get different opinions about tournaments. Big Marley was on this past week. And that's where I'm like, I plant the seeds in John's mind, and then then they grow a little bit on the Wolfpack, and then on Sunday he's like, "Yo, I made $100,000 on what you said." I'm like, "I didn't make shit. What the fuck? What?" And I'm like, "What happened here? Where's my 100?" Okay.
I know it's a bit of a joke, but it is funny when I forget half the times what I might have said. I'll get a message on Sunday, and someone will thank me. They're like, "Hey, I listened to what you said on Wednesday." I'm like, "Well, shit, I didn't make any money. What did I say that made you money?" But
this is truly the beauty of DFS, because we have all these angles and ideas, but then when you're pulling the trigger on your lineups, your own cognitive biases, especially when you're handcrafting, start to come into your head, and it's like, "Wow, I can't really actually play fucking Preston Williams." And then somebody's like, "No, I played Tua to Preston and fucking crushed it." And they're like, "Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about." So, like, it's hard to pull the trigger.
Which is why your opinions mean nothing unless you're actually backing them with money.
Well, that's right. A lot of people talk, but if you're not playing what you're saying, then you're basically full of shit. And flip side of this is we do play what we say, and you see our lineups, and I always do. And when I'm wrong, I lose money. So, okay, that's how it goes. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this. Is a very long edition of Geeks Vegas Lines. DFS and Betting Angles Breakdown, Week 9. Remember if you're watching this, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. It's very easy. Share it. Let your friends know it's a good show. It's free to watch it, free to check it out. Gives you a good update on betting. Gives you a great update on DFS for the week, and it's a great start. I love doing the show because only after this do I get my head together. I listen to John, and I get my head together for the week, start to get my my cheat sheet going. So that'll do it for that. If you want to get signed up at DFS Army as a VIP, please do so. Go to dfsarmy.com, sign up as a VIP. You'll get all of our daily fantasy sports and season-long NFL content, not just NFL, every sport. We cover it all. Taco is just in here smashing NASCAR and PGA constantly. We got esports going on. Whatever it is that you do or play, soccer, hockey, whatever it is, you get down with it. Any tight end outside of top 12. I don't even get in my head. I got to think about outside of the top 12. How about Trey Burton? How about, who did I say I liked before? I can't remember.
Outside the top 12, what?
Ranked? I mean, I don't know what the top 12 even means. DFS. Alberto? Hayden Hurst? Are they outside the top 12? I don't know. Hayden Hurst with no Ridley? Maybe he's good. So anyway, if you want to check out John and get his sports betting picks, NFL, on top of everything, even we were smashing election betting last night. You don't even know what was going on. I wish, for those of you who were in Sports Bet Army chat, we were smashing election bets. I'm like, dude, I'm first I started on took the underdog Trump. Numbers coming in. We're analyzing like shit. The numbers are swinging too far. Anthony P comes in with the info that the sports book is going to lose a shitload of money on Trump. I'm like, all right, fuck it. Let's cover that. Let's go Biden. Shit swinging back, making money like crazy. It was a lot of fun. Noah Fant is another guy we like. So it was a lot of fun, but normally it's not going to be that. It's going to be betting on sports, picks, tennis, soccer, whatever the hell you do. MMA, we got it all covered. College football. Ryan's college basketball and football models are ridiculous. They're incredibly active. We do better on the niche sports than anything else. So check out sportsbetarmy.com. Sign up with the code Statsational. You get 20% off there. DFS Army members. Or, you know what? I'll give you another little bonus here. If you want to get into Sports Bet Army, you want to get into sports gambling, and learn it from the best, from a John, from Anthony, and from Ryan, myself. I don't consider myself the best, but I give some decent picks. But if you want to do that, DM us on Twitter, in DFS Army Slack, if you're DFS Army, DM John at Statsational. He's in there. Okay, don't DM me. DM John. We've got to deal with some of the sports books that get you 2 months of free Sportsbet Army. All you got to do is, you're going to sign up for a sports book anyway. You might as well do the deal, get all the free money that the Sportsbet gives, and they cover 2 months of Sportsbet Army membership as well. So DM John at Statsational in DFS Army Slack. Ask him about that. He's going to hate me for this, but ask him about that. He'll set you up. I'll let you know where to go.
I'll tell you where to go.
Yeah, tell you where to go. How to get it all set up, or text in, or any of the staff. We can all help you out. How much for this garbage? We think it's good, man, but it's $49.99 a month for DFS Army. You get the code. You get it for $39.99. Same thing for Sportsbet Army. It's $39.99 with the Statsational code. You make it back on one MMA bet. I promise you that. The first MMA bet of the weekend, you make back your $40-$50. Everything else is gravy. All right. That'll do it for Geeks Vegas Lines and Betting Angles Breakdown. We hope to see you back next week, week 10. Good luck this week. Make money. Win your bets. Win your DFS contest. 100K. Do it all. We're going to be smashing. We know we smash every fucking week, so I have no doubt about that. Good luck, DFS Army. Good luck, everybody who's watching. We will see you next time. Later.